What's up, fellow agents? It's your boy 0011 here, and I'm here to recap the last episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The Last Shot. Oh my god, was there a dry eye in the house? I mean, just pull on every single heartstring. I've heard a couple people say it was too much and went on a bit too long. I disagree wholeheartedly. I mean, it had me hook, line, and sinker. Just one more reason why I love this show. And man, Bobbi and Hunter just sucked me into them. Now I love those guys as characters, and they're taking them away. Hey, I guess I'm glad they're getting their own spinoff. I don't know how they're going to do on their own, but I just think the dynamics of them and this team was really good. And damn it, guys, we're going to miss you. But let's get into this episode. Last week we saw Bobbi and Hunter leaving on a jet plane. This, of course, is just more foreshadowing to these guys getting their own show and leaving us here on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. without them. We truly are going to miss them because the chemistry between them is absolutely unbelievable. You've got to cut. This scene starts out with Bobbi in the interrogation room, and she's getting interrogated, and all she cares about is she wants a hamburger medium done with some crispy curly fries. She's such a badass. It basically then cuts to her and Hunter running through the snow, and she's kind of freaking out, and she's like, "Oh my God, I forgot the target designator." And all you hear is Hunter, bitching and complaining about how they should have stretched before they were running, and then he all nonchalantly is like, "Oh yeah, I've got it." And she just gives him that look like, "Oh, that's why I love you." I mean, the chemistry between these two is just unbelievable, and that's why they're getting their own show. It then switches scenes again, and this time it's Hunter being interrogated, and he's sitting there, and he's just as cool as a cucumber, and the guy's just yelling at him and screaming at him, and basically Hunter's just like, "Hey, we were just on vacation, and I was just trying to get some mushrooms," and the guy's like, "I have never met anyone like you, so easily able to just spout absolute nonsense." And Hunter just instantly right into it, just, "You want to know the secret to a good mushroom soup? Dried porcinis." I mean, you just gotta love this guy. They switch scenes again, and now it's Hunter and Bobbi are on recon, and Hunter's just sitting there staring at Bobbi, and he's just sitting there looking at her, and he's like, she kind of looks at him, and she's like, "I like what you're thinking, but not here, not now." And he's just like, "Get your mind out of the gutter." He's just like, when's the last, I'm just thinking how nice this is. When's the last time, it was just the two of us hanging out? And, she's just like, "Oh, it was, at Rio, at Caesar's Park Hotel." And he's like, "Nope, we're on a mission, doing a stakeout." And she's like, "San Diego." And he's like, "Nope, visiting your mother doesn't count." And then she's like, "Down in Florence on the beach." He's like, "That wasn't me, Bobbi." So he's just like, look, and he's like, the answer to that would be never. And this is just more foreshadowing, how nice this is, the two of them alone together. And then, that's what she looks. She's like, "Are you talking about a vacation or something else?" And then, of course, it just cuts out. More foreshadowing, foreshadowing, foreshadowing. Of course, then Shield shows up, and quick, comic relief. Are those mushrooms? May breaks everybody into teams, and they got to go and infiltrate like a Russian gulag. And so then we switch back to Malik, who's having a meeting with the Minister of Eternal Affairs, and we find out we have our first Inhuman politician, General Androvich. And this guy's powers are pretty sweet. They're calling it the Sentient Dark Force, and he's basically a shadow dust monster that can choke you out and then dissipate back into nothing just instantly. And it has some pretty cool fight scenes coming up when you first see him jump out of the wall. So it's pretty tight. But then it switches scenes back to Hunter and May, and Hunter tells him he doesn't know if he admires her or pities her. And then we switch back to Bobbi all dressed as a Russian undercover, and her superior comes up and says something to her, and she's like, "Ah, you got a good eye and pretty face," of course, before knocking him out. Then Daisy plays with an archaic computer, and Malik tries to assassinate a prime minister, and then we switch back to an awesome fight scene with the Shadow Dust monster. And of course, Bobbi just looks over at Tremors and says, "Ready, sister?" And you just know it's on. Just so sweet. Then Bobbi figures out that they got to kill the general. That's going to be the only way to kill this shadow monster. And she shoots the general and then instantly gives herself up to be taken in. And right before that, Hunter tried punching the Shadow Monster and about broke his hand, so he's kind of out of commission. So those two get captured, and that's how they get interrogated, and that's kind of how this whole thing's going back and forth. And I kind of love the way this was edited. And basically, the guy couldn't break him until finally he figures out. He's like, "I figured out what your weakness is. It's each other." And Bobbi just looks like, "Ah, shit, he got it." So yeah, basically they now he threatens to he makes it up and says that she basically confessed and gonna put Hunter in front of a firing squad, and she freaks out. And little do they know, Coulson's behind the scenes with the president and their prime minister, and they're kind of working things out. And Coulson goes in, like this is going with their plan. They're just two people on vacation grabbing mushrooms. Then he goes in and turns on his hand and makes the power go out. And he's like, "Okay, Fritz is going to turn on an EMP and you guys are going to run out of here and take out the guards." And they're basically just looking at each other, almost crying. And they're like, "We're done. We said we're going to be the shield to protect everybody. And right now, that's what we have to be, the shield." And you just know it's coming and it's no good. And man, you just know they're leaving. And I'm just really getting caught up with these guys. It's like, I don't know. So then it cuts to, the final scene, and those guys are sitting there taking shots, and all of a sudden the waitress comes over and gives them a shot, and they're like, "I didn't order that." And they're like, "Well, you have an admirer." And then the shots keep coming, and the shots keep coming, and Hunter's like, "Oh, there's Fritz, and oh, wait, they can't come talk to us because there's other, Russian spies, because these guys just swore that they weren't part of any SHIELD agency, totally disavowed SHIELD, so they can't get caught, basically intermingling like they know these people." And basically it just clicks in, and Bobbi kind of starts welling up, and he's like, "Oh, it's a spy's goodbye." And all the team's there, and they all have their shot, and they line up all these shots for Bobbi and Hunter. And I mean, it is just pulling on every heartstring you ever could out of a TV show. I mean, you never thought you'd well up and want to start crying over Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I gotta tell you, I was almost there. I mean, if you didn't well up at that scene, then you must be an inhuman, because it was just above and beyond. I mean, come on. So yeah, it was a great episode. Some people think it was just a bit much, or kind of threw it together, because Bobbi and Hunter was on, and then it was off, and now it's on again. So hey, I think all in all, it was a great episode, and I really liked it. So I don't know. I'm definitely going to keep watching. I'm sure you are too. Can't wait till the next episode comes up and see where we go from here. And man, I got one more word. Lash! Where the hell is Lash? Can't wait to see him come back. So anyway, that's how I did it. That's my recap for the video. If you like it, one up it. If you want to, subscribe, because I'm going to be making a couple more of these. Hey, if you like Game of Thrones, I'm about to start throwing all sorts of crazy theories out over there. So yeah, subscribe to the video, and we'll see you soon. 0011 out.